August 1944. Paris stood on the edge of destruction, one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Its bridges, its monuments, its history, all of it was about to disappear. Far away in Berlin, Adolf Hitler gave a final order. Paris must not fall into enemy hands, except as a field of ruins. The command was clear. If Germany could not keep Paris, then no one would have it. Explosives were prepared. Bridges were wired. Landmarks were marked for destruction. All it would take was one order, and Paris would burn. But the man responsible for carrying out that order would hesitate, and in that hesitation, history would change. For years earlier, in June 1940, Paris had fallen without a fight. German troops marched into the city. The streets remained intact, the buildings untouched. But freedom was gone. For 4 long years, Paris lived under occupation. Nazi flags hung from its buildings. German soldiers walked its streets. And beneath the surface, resistance slowly began to grow. Life continued, but never normally. Every whisper carried risk. Every act of defiance could mean death. By 1944, the war had turned. Germany was no longer advancing. It was retreating. The Allies had landed in Normandy, and now they were moving toward Paris. Hitler's grip on Europe was weakening, but his orders were becoming more extreme. If he could not win, he would destroy cities, infrastructure, entire regions, reduced to nothing. Paris would be no exception. The man chosen to carry out this order was General Dietrich von Choltitz, a career officer, disciplined, loyal, a man who had followed orders throughout the war. He was sent to Paris with one mission: hold the city or destroy it. There was no third option. When von Choltitz arrived, the situation was already unstable. The resistance was growing stronger. The Allies were approaching. German forces were stretched thin, and yet preparations for destruction continued. Explosives were placed beneath bridges across the Seine. Charges were positioned near key landmarks. Orders were ready. All that remained was a signal, but as the days passed, something changed. Von Choltitz saw the reality around him. The war was lost. Destroying Paris would not change the outcome. It would not stop the Allies. It would not save Germany. It would only erase a city and its history. Inside Paris, tension was rising. The resistance began to act. Barricades appeared in the streets. Gunfire echoed through neighborhoods. The city was no longer silent. It was preparing for liberation. At the same time, pressure from Berlin increased. Hitler demanded action. Reports were expected. Progress was required. The question was simple: was Paris burning yet? But the order was never given. Von Choltitz delayed. He hesitated. He stalled. Time passed, and nothing happened. The bridges still stood. The explosives remained unused. August 24th, 1944. Allied forces were closing in. The sounds of battle grew louder. Inside the city, the resistance had taken control of key positions. German authority was collapsing, and still, Paris stood intact. The final moment had arrived. One command could still destroy everything. One decision could erase centuries of history. But that decision was never made. On August 25th, Allied troops entered Paris. German forces surrendered. The city was liberated. Its bridges were still standing, its monuments untouched, its streets still alive. The destruction never came. The order was never carried out. And Paris survived. Why did von Choltitz refuse? Was it strategy? Was it fear of consequences? Or was it something else? A moment of doubt, a moment of clarity, a moment of humanity. History does not give a single answer, but the result is undeniable. Paris was not destroyed. One of the greatest cities in the world was saved, and in the middle of one of the darkest wars in human history. One decision changed everything.